dorje chanche de lo na ro da ma ba me la che che ga bo ba de sa she ja ken ken karma ba she she choy ge je pan ze na da nian da zha mian yin gen da rinpo che riwan pa sam ge xin de chen pa ma mo pa yin lo do ko lo rinpo che norbo rinpo che simo rinpo che sa she Adala memem je omboda gezela şeki zora java java na sanki zora rodu je de ve ba de ni je da mezun je ne de ada jojo do je de na de je lamra java ga zo da de ni de ve je je me ge ni ma de ba de da de je la ye ge da lo da de je ge ru mo da da me ge nam da ro gu ni da ge je ba tham je ge do da ge je de do ga ge de je ro jo ga bo ba ye me ba 제밤에마다 제밤에마다 매바와마르메바다 데데메데제메 루바니 제시데 바조바상 야마남 나바데라 잔젤로 조조바 방가라유 주리좀바사와 게베레 자주소마 지조르메게 마메세베절로 샤자 시에가라 헤르비고 예제베오돈 두젤레라바 게베데마고 네선자바 그 유로보젤로 샤자 원래도 지상화를 근소와 라마가마바 이거로 인조는 세계배 유담내죠. 틀레고 이제적으로 먼저 주변에 잡을라 내 주제적 비변은 라면 도지 경우랑 번대자야 라마를 보제 나게 주로 배면 되죠라 그런 집에 권해 죄송데 구성도 영우로자도 다들 이제 방어 대지매기 그저听你吧 초백갑들이야 지구나베 경그 잡던 것도 교백이 유 여기 장고로 붙여당 다는 신기 계획신이 에미세 그 중국 가는 배비 주만 안 봤어. 안 되지는 대전 배기 세계만서 상물로리아. 도마 거수 섬주셔야
First of all, I would like to offer my warm welcome to His Eminence Jamganar Bache, the protector for all beings, as well as all of the Kempos, spiritual masters and tulkus, and all of the nuns from the Kaju nunneries, as well as all the other monastics and lay people who are here. I would like to offer you a very warm welcome.
나 주매 군신디 나 도마 쪽에 걸려. 다 간다를 지 가지고 조디 그 주매 근데 가나로래. 나로래야. 지 700이 대. 700이 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 700 Shebe Desanado Yanaji Shebe Cheni Yargia Combeya that the Desi Miu Jigdere Miu Jigde the name Gombaso Sosugi Genkuwa Zamaimba Samegi Nyamjeg Tony and Edgy Carre Gingurus Lanse Chedunyam di Chevina then they get a Nuba Keverche Tunga Summer of that Digi Mus with the Zubres.
When we first initiated this winter Dharma gathering for the nuns, the first aim of this was primarily to strengthen the education within the Kaju nunnery. So that was one aim. And another aim was so that the nuns would be able to not just take responsibility for the activities within their own nunneries, but also to take wider responsibilities for upholding the teachers. And so this is another second greater aim.
다드네 대단냠도 되는 답을 타겐기 나니네 손에 답을 타겐기 도는마지 셰바체아름 지고주요아래 대균선데 가라인 수비입니다. 초진의 나니네 나니 팅당부 인상 팅당부 인두산에 지 가주에다 주메 공부하나로래 양지 가주에다 봐 용수 정보 선물을 받다지 군주 신다주는 신지기 용수 정보를지 가르쳐야 주슈치알 디스 강의를 비용디 아래 인두산에 안디 첩리아 안디 송주를 차셔베 안 달로를 차셔비미나 안 바지 군주 신다주는 신기 주마서 원에 아니 용수 정보를지 가르쳐야 난투야 다들 주저와 야래 임비네야 다 고주 사회 민주산 아니 모두이네 답을 다 gengi 세바디 제고야로 저야래
Now last year, in the first Winter Dharma gathering for nuns, we began the teachings on the jewel ornament of liberation. The reason was that last year it would have been difficult, since it was the first time for the nunneries to gather like this. It would have been difficult to do the full regular Winter Dharma gathering or Gunsha instruction. And so in place of that, we had the teachings. This year, now we have the capabilities to do the complete Gunsha, the complete Dharma gathering. We are able to do that. However, last year we started the teachings, and since we started them, then we need to continue them this year.
다대한 답변하겠니 냐면 답을 하시기 댄주 남은 답을 하지 제베 댄주 개치슈지 차디야래 다가는 신기 다 답을 하시기 유반들라 가자 주 가자 주 닌데스 난 당말래야 가자 주 진데스 다 간다라 도 중국 아래 네 인도스탄에 다 가자 주 닌데기 숑 개치슈디에 답을 가서 답을 다게 선물을 했다 니 차디어래 세상 딜리아 아주 그 유로 참여기 딜리아 천년 차다 딜리아 지숑 딜리아 통난 제야디 개초시지 통구에라 ngarangoine 통고도
Now, the jewel ornament of liberation is the most important of the treatises written by Gampopa, the physician from Dakpo. And in terms of the jewel ornament of liberation, in terms of its pedigree or its lineage, it combines the instructions from the two great rivers of the Kadampa and the Mahamudra lineages. And so actually it is the most important text that unifies the instructions of the Kadampa and the Mahamudra lineages. That is this jewel ornament of liberation. So for these reasons, it is something that all Kajupas should study and take interest in. And we should definitely consider it as very important. And I myself consider it to be very important.
따디기 답을 타경이 지지자데 뭐 무튜네 나타는 무튜도 샤인.
And so for that reason, we will continue with the teachings on the jewel ornament of liberation.
Then 다나시 달루미세기 아주 주막하기 배제 단계의 셰라버도 좀더 마세비 양지 직접서로 초저서로 간소다디 오다 디조임비냐 안들이 주메 구제거리야 미세려가면은 아는 뭐 대통령 야구 어렸으니 가서 라비미 된주산다디 초진에 숭추에르지 타고 와다 초진에 엔 상맥이 지 가수에 셰바도 주바스야디 지 야마저와 지당 셰바와 남지 주바와 남라 지 초체 대다섬지 야 상계 이템바 징게지레 삼브로 든지기 지구르다 통진체 다가나시기 안다나시 주바와 남지 야 대신도 봐 셰바와로야 초체 든지르 체제 편수지기 지래야 안에 대바다 타베 나와 장토가 총이비나 근데 상계기 템바를 뭐지 셰바도 주베고는 진토버지 용거래 셰마도베 시름니데 당분에 숭도 먼저베 강라 셰바와 남지 주바와 남야 디지 술산르체 주바와 남지 셰바와 술사체 데제는 마데와다 마튠버르 데제는 안에 신비미나 상계기 템바사데 냐마게 냐가 첨부시다요 그래 드린주사 디규젠데네 야주미르 데토데 아버시라 조스휘아인
In particular, this year, we have not only the nuns from the Kaju Shedras, we also have many nuns at this Winter Datha gathering who are from the practice centers, the puja and practice parts of the monastery. I said that if they had no other particular jobs that they had to do, then it would be fine for them to stay. And so on the one aspect of this is so that they can receive the teaching. The other aspect is so that our branches of teaching and practice are not separated from each other. It is only if the teaching and the practice go along together and accompany each other that we will be able to uphold the Buddha's teachings. And so, in the one hand, this is a way for the people in the practice sections of the nunneries to gain more interest and more excitement about the study aspects. And likewise, it is a way for those in the study branches to gain more interest and excitement about the practice, so that we can have mutual faith in each other and mutual pure perception. If we have such mutual faith and perception, will we be able to really uphold the teachings of the Buddha. And so it is important that we have both the teaching and the practice unified. If it is not like this, and there is like a big gulf in between the teaching sections and the study sections and the practice sections, and there is a lack of respect that the Shudras do not respect the practice sections, the practice portions of the monastery do not respect the Shudras, then not only is this the cause of discord and disharmony within the nunnery, it is also something that would cause the teachings and the instructions of Buddhism to wane and to weaken. So it is important for us to avoid this.
간다르 야외 까다 진주기 개베 댄주여가 나로래야 시에샤베 진이 디수 차상을 고야 다임베는데 진이 디수 차상하지 나라라 요마래 아드린 두산다 차상하지 매베 이나야 다 간다 가르쳐야지 나라래야 돼 상계 까마베지 Tsendang, Ginguru Jewe Hindustane, and Namjunji Hampachi Mashiran Shirji Chadiore. Tainea Uma Tambo Yagale Lendrod Baba, as Judulia, Pazi, the public audience, Miman Jagadi. Dunja chig nalolaya ting mangwe are Dunja chig nan ting mangwe yebechi ting ri gabli ne ya kadiwi ne ji she de da mangnyo lo ma de ba ge ji she de ane shugu de ba ji ngale ya yi ji les da krambe she ne sing min do da ji she ma shi sha min do sa ji yi ji les o da ti rasa sen do samsta susulia ngele che shengen sa de ya Rengu kan xia che di nian le ya rengu le ya nyam su le ne lang ne kala kan zam de ji gi gu le nyam yong ge wa ji dang gu tu ro wa lu ji de de ji chung bu yin ne xin ne che ji xie bi na di ka xie zam ma yin ba da ne xin dang wa tian ya ji dang wa gan bu ma yin ba 당와 럼바로 차트야지 용으로 성공 정유 다 되는 거는 매빈 다 시에만 시다면도 선 디 친제 public audience 말을 미만 제가 걸시다 시에요마 다 시다 시에면서 뭐도 바지 시제 찬다 시에요마네
Now, when we are teaching the Dharma and listening to the Dharma, then for teaching and listening, first of all, for the teacher should be a genuine teacher. That means someone who has all of the characteristics of a teacher that are taught in the Buddha's words and in the treatises by the great masters of the past. But I do not have all of these characteristics. Even though I don't have them, though, because I have the title and the responsibility of the karmapa, then sometimes I have no choice but to fake it. Actually, when I first came to India, and I got to Gyuta Monastery, we would have public audiences every week. There would be several public audiences every week, and I would always say a few things during these public audiences. And then there was one day when a letter came, and in the letter it said that actually there wasn't much point in me teaching the Dharma, not much benefit or use in it. And when I received that letter, then I actually, after that, I stopped teaching so much, and I didn't really teach so much in the public audiences. And the reason for this is that if you are someone who teaches the Dharma, then really, before you teach the Dharma, you should have some practice of that within your own being. You first need the practice. If you do not have any experience or any understanding of the Dharma in your being and then teach, then you aren't really teaching the Dharma. And so, in order to teach the Dharma truly, you need the experience in your being. Otherwise, the instructions, if you have the experience within your being, are the instructions no longer dry, but they become the moist and rich instructions. And so for that reason, I stopped teaching so much. I stopped teaching in the public audiences.
Tadne andalo malam gali bina. Ta nye dun drume de nye gozu sa induza shu de nye ma yera jebje. E shema do ji ya ji sunju sawa de na ina. De sunju sawa de yuna. E de samlo ne anzu gyabji rum je gyabji gyazur rum de jangwo rum che la so ba. Anzu ta gandar kamsangi kirum yindengi gyabji rum je na ba solya naro shubina de weshin 참바든지 도즈 간다라 거주 몰람 사르다 거주 구주 사르 되게 남 미지기 가수에 초바름 계셔 만다디 그 유지 감상지 초바름 저 여비 인주사나 엔디 돌야 기름 민딩이 기워 담아들 수기 마 순수에 나토나 야본도스 당아 편지 and 바지 왕구라 최시야 성원 예체들에 근데 자삽시다민도스 안데인도 다 나로시 슈베레 데인탈로 겹진장으로 무치 손슈낭아레 안데인두스타네 좀부치 손슈나 바지 가주레 나르 손슈나 근데 가주레 kumji bata mangboshi nangyung to geyo mara di ibine yabushira chungbre and ring ju sane di gyunsen dene and mangbala ibine ya ta nge ngomang go zu cawa de ibine and shu de nge ma yeran gerse ma do ya sawa de ibine and gaje tudu ngarang wene ji xie ma go ba de ri chi cha da bezur do si 간다냐 가수래지 주버귀니기 기지지야래 가라잖아 나 주버귀니 마시나 됐었다 드리지 기지지야래 라마데 노비 편유시 노부자데 이신의 왕게 잡아서 비시부 편유야래스 베데베디 소다바즘기 은데 편 가수래 란라 가른 데베이네 디베 중국에서 제제다 간다 드시시비게 다 진짜 노부자 전부지 유엔한테 나라지 나로지라 나라 메스 라고레스 데르브 차로레스 라마도 칸 집에 지 페미 친도 하고지 양도 하고 셰셰셰셰셰 타마레도 다 진짜게 유엔데 삼지미제 바다 다티 쳇라 유베스라 비상 나라 메스 아르지데 chandogoros de indusa disorji ta chandogoros de indusa ti gyunsen dene ta kandara dari tagen dingen gozu inzada shuguding ma yaran gerche da dershi.
Now, during the Kaju Mumma, The teachings for the Torch of True Meaning, I'm the one who started them, so I need to finish them. However, for the new teachings, as much as I can, I would like to ask His Eminence Gyaltse Rinpoche and His Eminence Jamgon Rinpoche to teach them. These are I would like to ask the masters of the Karma Kagyu lineage who have both the qualities of learning and practice to do them. And I think if we do this, it will be appropriate. After all, when we say the Kagyu Munlam, the name the Kagyu Munlam is not given to just an association for me alone. It's a general Kagyu event. And so for that reason, I think it is extremely appropriate for the great masters of the Kagyu lineage who have the qualities of both practice and learning to teach. Now, for the empowerments and teachings that I've begun, then I will continue to do them. But for other ones, I don't think it's so good for me to teach them. It's like this year, I asked Jamgon Rinpoche to teach to give a teaching this year, and Rinpoche did do so. And even though he is young and has not had much experience teaching yet, he did a very good job and gave very good teachings. And so in the future, I would like to try to avoid, or I'd like to do this as much as I can. The ones that I have started, I will finish myself, but for any new teachings, I will do as much as I can to have other masters give those teachings. It's sort of like there's a story about a great master. Once there was a Lama who was teaching, and he was explaining the benefits of a wish-fulfilling jewel and saying how if you pray to the wish-fulfilling jewel, you will get everything that you want. Well, then he was asked, so, well, do you have that sort of jewel? No, I don't have that jewel, he said. Of course I don't have that. So it's the same way. We talk about all the benefits of Dharma practice and the inconceivable benefits of Dharma practice, but then if someone says to me, well, do you have those benefits? It's like, I don't have those benefits. In any case, the teachings on the jewel ornament of liberation are something that I have started, and so I have no choice but to continue them.
레균제 거든 버다 거에 동에 시아버디 차르스미제 리옹아바디 차르스미제 리오주바 레균제 셰베가 임버다.
And so it seems we have come to the section on karmic cause and effect, the 6th chapter of the Jewel Ornament of Liberation. We have gone through the first 5 chapters, through the 5th. We have completed the 5th chapter on the sufferings of samsara, so now we are in the 6th chapter, Karmic Cause and Effect.
텔레시아의 동에서 유치를 중요하는 사제기를 중요한 시합을 자고 되더라야 너들 레기야발레 레남자네 나솔레 대인 조네 나솔시 셰송소 이제 빼만 깔벌레 직딘이 레기 제발 레기 주바오 셈진남 레기 제발 레기 유레 중앙 레 여러분들 저 셰송소 최응원바 저레기 직딘 나솔레 레기 셰송소 레디야 지시 인샤나 Sembele, Sambele ni ino, Tedra Chunga Boguni Dubale, Le Kanshana, Sambele, Sembele, Sambele, She Sungsu, Chunga Bazulega, Lene Semba Tang Ti Che, She Sungsu, Zashele, Chansong Chog Lenam, Semba Tane Sambrazong, She Sungsu.
And so the chapter, Karmic Cause and Results, reads, you may wonder what causes the sufferings that were just explained. One should know that they come from the karma of afflicted action. Thus the Sutra of 100 Karmas says, from the many diverse causes of karma were created the diversities of these migrators. From the White Lotus of Great Compassion Sutra, this world is produced by karma, this world manifests by means of karma. All sentient beings are produced by karma. They appear through the cause karma. They are distinguished by their karma. Also, the treasury of Abhidharma reads, from karma various worlds are born. What is karma? There are two, the volitional karma and intended karma. The compendium of Abhidharma says, what is karma? It is volitional karma and intended karma. Also, the treasury of Abhidharma says, volition and what that creates. And the fundamental treatise of the Middle Way says, the Supreme Rishi said that all karma comes from volition and from intention.
What are these two? Volition, the volitional karma is the mental karma. And what that creates is the intentions, the mental intentions. This should be understood as the actions of body and speech. The treasury of Abhidharma says, volition is mental karma, and what that creates is body and speech. To explain these kinds of action and their results, in summary, there's the classification, characteristics, ownership, allotment, increase from the small, and inevitability. These six comprise karmic cause and result.
Della tambone le degi yone sun de shepherd chade sonam mai me le yude sonam de le yude myo le yude so.
First, the classification. There are three types of karmic cause and result. Non-meritorious karmic cause and result, meritorious karmic cause and result, and unmoving karmic cause and result.
다들어요. 가르쳐다 레귤레사데 레귤레서라다 가르쳐 레데서라 가르쳐. 지당에서 귤레질이야. 기브저의 총의 귤레시다. 다가다 심지기 뒤에 귤레질, 심지기 머리에 귤레 나만이 조금만 섬트도.
When we talk about karmic cause and effect, generally with cause and effect, there are the effects that arise from the effort of people. So basically, with cause and effect, there are the causes and effects that are contained within the continuum of a sentient being, and those that are not contained within the continuum of a sentient being.
딱감들이야 레데사리 심지기 뒤버서는 나고 간다르 심지기 저와의 총에게 유대를 지리하는 레데스 소유서요.
So here when we talk about action and result, what we're talking about is the causes and results that are contained within sentient beings' continuum, or the causes and results that occur because of the effort of a sentient being. So that is what we mean here by karmic cause and result.
lente ki visual showing game and lente tele then consuma da sigi and ya sum ta sonam mai de le judes tam me gewa che sonam ge le judes tam gewa che then miyo le sa de ta kampone ge sum de ta ka de se ya sum yo re.
Now, in talking about the cause and effect that arises from the efforts of a sentient being, as it says here, there are three types. There's non-meritorious karma, karmic cause and result. This refers to unvirtuous actions. There's virtuous karmic cause and result, and meritorious karmic cause and result. This refers to virtues. And then there is unmoving karmic cause and result, and this refers to the samadhis of the upper realms. So these are the three different types of karma or action.
That game making lente karine, that the lente starting Kashre. Mazunum you lente started the devils. Some time Bena Ni Gyong Matalia, Kurala, to Mijilia, Jamja Shu, Telatene, Gyawan Delia, and Michigan, Jamja Shu. That thing I rest taking on to Tidi, sort of latest study, Paji Cherina, Takana Shinner, the two Mures of Sarusi, because there was some quarter. In a latest study, there was there was an entire Yana, the laid out in the gym, never. Let us have no one sharish. Lede, Namsha Saba, Lede, Rodan Sabi, no one sharish. The Tega somewhere with the tea. Neji Cheval, then a Kurang Tana, to Chigre Sarati, Lede, Ravore, did you make a Bayomare? Lede, Namsha Sabi. You're a shooter, sham. But a lente, Rodanti Kashre, Tilia, Kashre, the Shugan of Temple, we do stand and it's Simji Tigi Maiba. Donna Pajit Mazuki lente, there was constantly Simjet Tamselia, Javati, Yondi Sare, and the day to Sare, and the Dini come, some whole universe, some the thing comes to the German on the other. Did you get on Chadi in Houston? Did they allow you near part to shoot the ground to the Shuara Savage? Did you let out some time and sometimes take one antique, Lendelia, and the image of the one in Gatua. Karasa Kashiki, Legatuzaki and said in it, Miss Kozulia, do Nami do with Lamsan, made Lega setting it is all a Kativine Chavo, which is on the Lambo, you on the Asusi, on the Loa. Today is done. How the genetic letters at the Kinsar, never is some arsenal. You give out and Jibba de Anjo, you may go out and Jibba to Anjo Sally, never is some arsenal. Take in attending on some disturbed their trauma, their last.
Now, when we talk about karmic causes and results, when we talk about virtue and unvirtue, we normally understand this in an extremely simplified way. We think, oh, in the past I slapped someone in the past life, and so in this life I'm going to get slapped back. So we have this really simple understanding. We think that that is what karma and result is. We do something to someone else, and then the same thing is going to happen back to us. But that actually is a really simplified way of looking at it. Actually, when we look at karma, it is not at all simple. It's not at all easy to understand. Actually, karma, cause, and effect is extremely complicated. It's a difficult and complicated presentation. And so if we merely think of it as being, I do something and then I reap what I sow, then that is just the most
coarsest of the coarse ways of understanding, the most simplified way you could understand it. And it actually is not at all that simple. Karmic cause and effect is an extremely complicated topic. Because when we think about how karma and actions and results work, then if it were just something, that's one thing, we think of it as just being one person affecting another person, a mutual connection. But it's not like that. It's not just that we're doing things that are connected with one single individual. Instead, karmic cause and effect is related to all the sentient beings in the three realms. It's related to all the sentient beings in the entire universe. And so for that reason, it's extremely difficult and difficult to understand. It's not just what is connected to between any two individuals. It's the entire universe. And so for that reason, if we think that it's just you do something and then it happens back to you, then that is, we think it's very easy. But karmic cause and effect doesn't happen that way. It's not that simple at all. This is something that we see. You can see people who only do bad things, and yet the results of those bad actions does not ripen upon them immediately. Or you see people who only act well, and all they experience is difficulty, pain, and depression. And so when we look at it on the face of things, it seems like it can't be like that. And we might disbelieve in karmic cause and effect. We might wonder how it is that virtues always lead to happiness and non-virtues always lead to suffering. But the problem here is that actually we're thinking of it in too simplistic a manner.
차버스바이나 대각대비 남과대만 다시 차버도 살래. 차밥에 내거래야 다 남과만 차봐야지 지내라고 저래. 이내 차봐서 되지 대각대는 신기. 아주 대각대도 살래. 나만 지 보여. 이제 내가 쉬어만 차버사디 자외 기념을 해. 남부디 뒤버디 가스를 남과야 칼래야 또 대야 롱기데 다는 이제야 사장이 개버려야 돼. 다는 신기 남주 개버 시즌이 개버려야 돼. 다는 신기 딱 간다베 용서 사고 싶으시지. 다마를 비슷하네. 차바 바라를 식다니 주자다지. 간다를 디 이제 규제 제바디 가수를 뭐 붙이듯이 퇴근 저것도 뭐이마 뭐 망부지 냠도 처배 규제된 처벌을 내네 규제는 거 뭐이마 규제 나 처벌지 처벌을 대신 는 간다를 차봐야 사지 거래 다른 신기 레데스한테 다른 신기 또 용과시 민주산에 디규스들을 대네 맞아 동서치를 규이와 타대봐 다 꾸이시미 비미사스기 시험을 다딘주산 마제기 조리아 다 마제 조리질래야 그냥 보지 천도 지수 유견의 상으로 하는 상계기 드리듯이야 레데스다 때 나서 상담은 레라도 되나 아니 꾸이 니시 주의 인슬라바스케 도 하나 좀 드시 개념 들고但这是面上用的少休息也没影响。他们这些嘛，可能居的是话去。你就找这么的全部的水，来这城市找的天都要嘛的。城市上的水考不出来的，那就啥呢？提供这点呢，看到来这啥的，就这个的，我用不起的，用的少不起。用了差不多一个月就真这样给他们学的行，没记得这个，没这里你的怎么这个问嘛？但是连这啥的，连这个的难的什么了，朝安中的从容来嘛说，这个的甚至从容到了，哪个讲这个甚至他们这里啊，连这个这吧，做越为影响，第一就是在这呢，到底连这这个啥的，我用事情。다는 시 뒤장도 마세베 유당 뒤당 다는 시단 야 진짜기 내급기 유견을 댄시 양고 요망고 줘야 돼 dri ju san di gyun sen tene le de sa go nyong shu chi ibare.
For analogy, you can think of rain falling from the sky. When we look at it, it seems pretty easy. Rain falls, the drops fall from the sky, and that's rain. But then when you really start to examine it, it's not at all that easy. You have to, and as you all know, first of all, you have to the clouds. The clouds form over the ocean. They collect the water vapors. They're blown by the winds. They have the right place. There's the factor of whether the temperature is right or not. There are differences in the different seasons and so forth. So it's actually rain itself is extremely complicated. And this is because it's,
weather focused
and this is the reason why our weather forecasts are often so inaccurate. The weather forecast will say that it's going to rain and then it doesn't rain. And this is why, because it's so extremely complicated. Because it's the connections of causes and result. It's not just the connection of one thing, of two different things. It's many different conditions and causes that are assembled that produce it. It's not just a few things. It's a variety of different conditions that come together, and only then is rain produced. And so it's similar with karmic cause and effect. And so this is why it is often said that only the omniscient Buddha can know the causes of the colors in a peacock feather. If you think about the peacock feather, then each different fiber has its own different color. And the only one who can know about this is the omniscient Buddha. Each of these has its own cause and effect. We might not think that karmic cause and effect is something that only the Buddha could know, but actually it's so complicated and so extremely difficult that it really is only within the sphere of the omniscient Buddha. It's something even the listener arhats were unable to know karmic cause and effect. It was difficult even for the bodhisattvas to explain karmic cause and effect. And the reason for this is that karma is so extremely complicated. Karma is not just something where it's the connection between a few individual people. It's not just a few people, it's all people, all sentient beings. The karmic connections are with all the sentient beings anywhere throughout space, anywhere in the universe. And because there's so many connections, then it becomes extremely complicated. Not only that, the results are also affected by the place and the time, and there are many different circumstances that also affect the ripening of karma.
family cost somewhere that turtle give cost somewhere that gyugen of the that jitin gobabo music somewhere gyugen jige chesha borobuchi dodo jige chesha borobuchi ta yimene nama sange we taddi kondo shubadan singi ta gyugen tenjen na sowaji ndo chebal dene chongmo mada begi ene gyu garso gyugen de jen jige yu rangwang borobuchi dang ene chuktu borobuchi jige energy 가르소에 좁대버지다 총대버지래서나 아나 라 가정의 니즈 돌이야 라가 카보시게 버지 근데 순거아래 근데 유산 디균zel 때네 가르 다가랑 게 가르된 거 알아서나 아니 균진 렌데스야데 아니 유엔 나서버질 때네 총대버지당 안 돼야지 규랑왕와로도 축도버지 되면 봐 다 간다라 찍래 찍되네 찍래 찍대네 언중과에 뭐지든 인두산 디균산 되네 단 들레 댄체 진짜게 렌데가 남산들 댄체 아주 가서디 야부치 인들이야 배 콘슈브 투 중앙이미나 덴덴기 지 가수래 조직네 가수랑 아주 남상계 위치로 좀 챙겨서도 마세비 지당기 로미직 차샤위 미네야 근데 저기 렌데가 남샤디 지 가수래 남상계 렌데가 남샤디 좀세 지 시에도 총이 미나 데데 그럼 미지나로래야 네 가수래다 펜도용하기 아니 지 시제로 직착을 삼청이
The presentation of karmic cause and effect is really a particular feature of Buddhism. And the reason for this is that ultimately many religions assert that everything comes down ultimately to a single cause, a prime mover, a single cause. But in Buddhism, we talk about how everything arises from a variety of different causes and conditions. There is no one single object, no autonomous thing no autonomous creator that we can establish. And so for that there are many different situations, there are many different things that they arise. It'd be difficult to say that there is a single autonomous initial, a single autonomous and independent initial cause. And so for that reason, with karma cause and effect, we say it comes from many different causes and conditions, and there's not any individual, autonomous, independent cause. Rather, it's everything being dependent upon each other, everything affecting each other. And so, if we can understand that, if we can come to an understanding of this karmic cause and result, then I think that this is something that will not only help us understand the Buddha Dharma, but this is also definitely something that if we have an understanding of the presentation of karmic cause and effect, it is definitely something that will bring us benefit in this human life as well.
다드네 늘려야 가르소에다 미기와 주송하래 미기와 주사디 지당 미기와 사디 망부시타야 하래 아도 미기와 이는 미기와 주 가능인 거에 여봤게 요마래 이내 다데 첩체와로 고는 스카시 빼작하시가 나라 첩체와서 말면 다지 디지 가르소에 미기와 나 망부지에 나네 에는 미기와지 디제 냥가사서는라도 야지 미기와 독슈에는 됐어 주 루루스에는 서머베 디디제네 예스 디디 순도아래 다는 저가 나를 텔레 첼롱 듀니니 사츠바 텔레 첼롱 듀니니 게드 미기 지리바 레기라는 줄송소 슬라비스탄다디나 베 카르디나네 미기와 체체 됐어 주 듀니 에는 미기와 주스베임 디디 순도아래 안드레 뉴스안에 다 미기와 주사디 미기와 이는 미기와 주부 가능이 미케 받다 개요 말디 유미네 다 조디 첩체와서는 라도 야나네 다 체동 안에 somewhere 지 소제베 체동 안에 비 삼신도 네 소제바다 양지 삼신도 맞지밀래 말았어 다 제기 가서지 배 강종 제샤바 난 디제 소르디스 시샤체네 아니 미기워주 소나마로 마도 베나 아주 참서 섭섭만 제비체 강배오 월이야지 모든데 세 쇼와르 니온디 와르 다이미 디 삼신도 세시스 게만와 다디 미기워르 해서나 다디 미기워 마레스 라피아 칼라 카보로바 다디 인두산에 디 유젤데네 다 소제번 쳐오르 소제번 차더라 다 소제번 쳐여인다 미기워 다 차도 좀 미기와 마레스 라피아 칼라 카보레 레스 라마디 미기와 주부가 난게 소제버데 레베슬라나 안 바지 마레스 라도 그래 지다 미기와 마레스 라피아 칼라 카보르스면서 something
we talk about the 10 non-virtues. Now, of course, in general, there are many different non-virtues, but the non-virtues are not necessarily all included in the 10 non-virtues. But because these 10 are the most severe, they're the heaviest of them, you could say that they're the most dangerous, the most severe of the non-virtues, then they are talked about as the 10 non-virtues. But this is as it is mentioned in the Treasury of Abhidharma. To generalize the karmas, whether virtuous or unvirtuous, are said to be in the 10 paths of karma. And so when we talk about the 10 different non-virtues, this means that we're just generalizing and grouping them in the 10 most severe. Otherwise, if you're talking about non-virtues, they're not necessarily one of the 10. But these 10 are the most severe. Now, these, with the 10 non-virtues, these are non-virtues that you need to do intentionally and particularly. And so that means that you know that you're doing them. And so that is the basis for doing the 10 non-virtuous actions. It's like if you're walking along and you squish an insect. When that happens, then is that a non-virtue? It probably is. It's difficult to say that it's not a non-virtue, but it's not one of the 10 non-virtues. It's not like you killed intentionally. It's killing, so it's non-virtuous. You can't say that it is not unvirtuous, but you can't really say that it's one of the 10 non-virtues either. So it's difficult to say that it's not a non-virtue, but it's not one of the 10.
된저다 미기와 주분다 탐체 돈바신 코나는 예버죠 뭐이마 탐체는 예버죠 인소다 건도나 미기 주분 그 스림 단데야라 다지 지 김바다르 중게 돈바 다른 시 카나마도 인지 송면로 다른 시 카나마도 인스 제발 카나마도 마인스 제가 돈바 명긴 가사 변하진 나바 명게 디술래 에는 미기와 주부디 에는 예번 주고요스 셰마도야 가시야 제베 카나마도와 가시 양고주 돈바 쉬사와마도 돈바 메슈발이야다 다 미세다 예바사 예베 남샤르 게 제하스게요 말고 안드레 인주스다네 디주젤 때네 미국의 주부디 돈바진 코나마이바 단 돈을 탐세도 예버는 요와 인세세 단 도군리 뒤바 잔데 나는 소요하래 단 도군리 뒤바디 루루긴 도군리 뒤바지당 조제가 도군리 뒤바지 바지니 있어다 루루데 면로 다 임바쇼 나한테 되지 라다 간다 도군리 뒤바 나한테 되지 소요자
And so with the 10 non-virtues, we have there is the discipline of refraining from committing these 10 non-virtues. And this is something that both householders and monastics follow. These 10 non-virtues are the naturally unwholesome. And so these are actions that are unwholesome even if you don't have vows. For example, it's not just they aren't just unwholesome or unvirtuous if Buddhists do them. They're also unwholesome or unvirtuous if non-Buddhists do them as well. So they're called the naturally unwholesome. And so such virtues as these are not just unvirtuous if those people who hold vows do them. They're harmful and wrong for everything. And so this is described in the compendium of the sutras. Now there are two different compendiums of the sutras. There's one by Atisha and there is one by Nagarjuna. And we will take it that this is said in the one by Nagarjuna.
미기와 telaya yena 루기 거는 숨 nga 거는 시 이기 거는 숨이야 그래.
If we classify the unvirtues, there are 3 of body, 4 of speech, and 3 of mind.
다되네. 루기 거는 숨 되라. 여빈 다 루기 거는 미기와 숨부 들이야. 랑게 챤나 녀바 임바체. 챤라 쮸웨이 미냐. 루기 미기와 강분이데 챤라 쮸웨이장 다 미기와 응시 그거야 버치. 챤라 쮸웨이 미냐. 응시 토고야 버치. 응시 두자네. 디보 응시 서마레. 미기웨 디보 응시 토고야 버치. 다 가수래 당분이기에 시행을 지어야 의식 토고야 봐. 저도 마세베게 안에 숨바 디장 안에 바지 가르쳐야지 다 시행을 년체벌 다들 년체버서 갈아 가버시도 다 간다 가리는데 미고와 루기 미고와 숨바 디게 안에 랑게 제바좀도 마셔 봐. 시행을 제도 주고 있네요. 아니를 디봉을 토고야 봐. 나한테 이메라. 데디 처음에 스타팅에 나로 남 스타팅에 나로래 수여자.
Now, with the 3 misvirtues, or the 3 non-virtues of the body, if you do perform them yourself, if you commit them yourself, then of course they are wrong. Not only that, for the first 2 of these, the first 2 of the non-virtues, if you do them, it's not only if you do them yourself, if you order someone else to do them, then you also have the actual commission of this yourself. So that means that you've actually done them. It's the same as if you've done the misdeed yourself, karmically. And with the third also, if you order someone else to perform to commit the third of the non-virtues, then just as with the first 2, with the third as well, if you order someone else to do it, then you also have the effect of committing you've also committed the main misdeed.
Send a message. It's not order. It's kind of send a message to help.
Okay. And also, if you send a message in order to encourage or have someone do it, then it also becomes
the third one. Third one. This is for third one. Yeah. Then,
if you send a message and have someone doing it, then in the exposition school, it is.
No. 나게 미기와 딱 나가 미기와 들량 랑게 제바좀도 마서 시야 제도 주고 이네요. 되네 미기와 응시 타고야 왕어버 잔제가 나올 숭요아레스 아들 숭요아레.
Now, with the 4 misdeeds of speech, not only are they the actual commission if you do it yourself, you're actually committing it if you encourage someone else to do it as well.
대참도 마세베 나네 마와서 베나 준데 참마 측중 나게디 시부디 나네 마와서도 마세베 류기 코르체베 있네 베나 준셰베 걸 참사양 꾸바가시 나는 마식 말와 이네 락다체는 간 락다치 카다 락다체는 카주 칸레제 에너지 라반데제 데제 진짜 토네 에너지 미들이야 바디 지 가르에 최는 응시 예외라나 칸은 응시 예외서 말하네 근데 제샤나 다 미지 응시 예외 고로로 봐 근데 제베 이네야 바지 다 찍고 차로래 독글리 디빈 잡아도 주나데 소요다.
Now, with the 4 misdeeds of speech, they don't necessarily have to be done verbally. You can also do them through your body. For example, if you pretend to be mute and just shake, give signs with your hands or sort of move your mouth around or move your head, then you can also be doing them through your body by making signs with your hands or with your head or your body. For example, if someone asks you, "Are you clairvoyant?" and you nod your head, then they're going to understand you as saying that you are. And so this is also said to be the commission of the actual wrong, according to the commentary on the Compendium of the Sutras.
Okay. 다드네 미기와 주부들이야 미기와 응시 토벌 제벌이야 예라시 창고 여기다 예라시 말 예랑아 창고 예랑아와들 시당 누시에당 삼바당 녀몬바당 타두라서 다들 망고지 예랑아 창고야 지기 기저지요 아래 디 토메기다 토메서 말베다 다 토메게 싸대가 나네 넘버 10로 두에 나로리아 되지 소요 아래 다디 선이 뒤지 충분히 있는 디즈마 게시를 체체 다 계속봐 대가시에잖아 미기와 차래 레라보면도 미기와 차래 미기와 응시 토야라 미기 응시 토야라 고 예라 먹고 상고 배는 아주 팀들 지구지게 하는 팀 배는 팀강난 저에 돌이야 다 예바 사요다 메고 심중 망보지 권에만 다 되는 비슷 다가는 신기 남배기 최대 다가스 지가서에 심진지 세바 점식이 이 미기와 차토야 매버치 미기와 주의 남선의 기부 소저보다 차토 매버치 응시 토도 매버치 다딩 응시 토버 제발이야 예랑아 상고 예랑아 청주 가르레스 시베입니다. 다데고 제시를 자요래. 그래서 디 선이 뒤주 충분히 쇼이.
Now, with the 10 non-virtues, in order for it to be the actual commission of the non-virtues, there are 5 aspects that need to be present. These 5 aspects are the basis, the conception, the intention, the affliction, and the completion of the act. So all 5 of these branches, the basis, conception, intention, affliction, and completion, all need to be present. And so if they are not all present, then it is not an actual commission of one of the 10 non-virtues. So if we have time in the coming days, I will explain this more. Basically, it's not so easy to commit a non-virtue. In order to have the actual commission of a non-virtue, you have to have all 5 of these. It's like when you're trying a crime case in a court. You have to go through everything and make sure that everything fits against the law. So in this way, it's similar in the Dharma. Merely killing another sentient being does not necessarily make it an actual commission of one of the 10 non-virtues. You must have all 5 of these aspects present. And so I will give a greater explanation of this if there is more time in the coming days.
지를 많아야 내게 남겨주고 미겨 주되 류기고는 소셔버서 숨나고는 주인어서 시다 이기고는 남선어서 숨 대달 레rel한 된 숨숨데 이해와다 저보다 개발로 tel라다 소셔버는 얘는 숨디 르사이고는 소셔버다 세당고는 소셔버다 띠무고는 소셔버 tel라당보네 샤다 빠벌어서 비처럼 재미처럼 놀기처럼 다감 저용수 개베지 소셔버 이번에 큰슈버도 단들교버도 불 시랑께는 소저버 숨반이 추진을 써봐 디디불아 숨 넘버미 비드보다 유튜브 비드보다 왕게 드보 텔 넘버미 비드보네 심진야워게 원조로 유튜브 비드보네 가디 미르케나 세통시 내망 유로 왕게 드보네 유tam이시 지지촌 삽겨와 유로 개버네 소주베 나네 파양이나 자조마야 임바 대 소주베 딕쳐 마진발렘발레나 숨디 튜 마진발렘바도 저비 마진발렘바도 유규 마진발렘바 대라 당분에 예메버 전조 제법 이번에 강반 빅발라서베 마서로 꾸어 숨바디 제사나 소발라 소소 제법 대인 드블라 숨레 남버미 드분이 이다스케온 유튜브 드분 가데 미르게나 론조기 풍물 유 왕가 드분이 유세스르마서 깨어는 유 케버니 마진발렘베 나네 라마다 꾸적 놀라 마진발렘바 디고 차오.
The characteristics of each classification. First, non-meritorious karma and its result. Generally, there are numerous non-meritorious actions, but they are briefly summarized as 10. 3 from the body, taking life and so forth, 4 from the speech, telling lies and so forth, and the 3 from the mind, covetousness and so forth. There are 3 subcategories for each of these 10, classification, result, and distinctive action. First, taking life, the classification is that there are 3 types: taking life through the gate of desire, taking life through the gate of hatred, and taking life through the gate of ignorance. The first means to take life for meat, pelts, and so forth, for sport, for one's own wealth, and to maintain oneself and loved ones. The second means to take life through the arising of hatred, out of resentment, or in competition. The third refers to making sacrifices and so forth. The 3 results of taking life are the fully ripened result, the causally compatible result, and the dominant result. The fully ripened result means that the actor will be born in the hell realms. The causally compatible result means that even if the actor is born in the human realm, their life will be short or they will experience much sickness. The dominant result means that the actor will be born in an inauspicious place where there is little dignity. The distinctive act of taking life is to take the life of one's father, who is also an arhat, which is very heavy negative karma. Second, stealing. The classifications of stealing. There are 3 types of stealing: taking things by force, taking things secretly, and taking things through deceit. The first means to rob by force without any reason. The second one means to steal things by breaking into a house without others noticing, and so forth. The third one means to deceive through measurements, scales, and so forth. The results of stealing. The fully ripened result of stealing means that the actor will be born as a hungry ghost. The causally compatible result means that even if the actor is born in the human realm, they will suffer from insufficient wealth. The dominant result means that the actor will be born in a place where there is more frost and hail than normal. The distinctive act of stealing, taking wealth belonging to one's spiritual master, the 3 jewels, is very heavy negative karma.
Oh yeah, that did you do? Oh, that didn't the doesn't check. Tagging the doesn't check. That didn't the should live. And that you got rid. 당연히야 타겐디 진짜 더 샤바 베제드 카디오잖아요. 같이 네 베제 바카디도 미카시 니세용도 아드린 주산에 다야 보시고 조금서 아드린 주산 네 대바 제죠 다드네 마 지가 다디 슈들이야 기스가시 시아요.
And so that is enough for the teachings of the jewel ornament of liberation. I've made a little mark. We can make marks in our text. Actually, when I make the mark in the text, then people start to wake up. At any rate, then that is enough for the jewel ornament of liberation, and I will give a bit of explanation about this.
다텔레양 도스쇼나 드리게래 상기 덴바사디 에네 롱다 토베 뒤베 인스타 한다 롱도 니가 나라만 뒤베 상기 덴바지 오마데스 덴제베가 롱도 니가 덴바대양 지금 베숨 샤레야 샤바다 주바 코나 안에 계셔와래서 안데 주산다 시름니디 템바 지금 베숨 샤가 다 락샷 세나다 템바 지금 베숨 샤가 탑 담바디 시름니리아 라레데비지 자리하네.
Now, when we talk about the Buddhist teachings, then they're all contained within scripture and realization. There isn't any Buddhist teaching that is not contained within these two. And in order to uphold and preserve these teachings, then we need to uphold and preserve the scripture and realization. And the only way to do this is by the teaching and practice of these two. And so the tools to uphold the teachings, or the methods to uphold the teachings of scripture and realization, therefore, are teaching and practice.
대야 세베 템바데 친인이 이거는 징거와 주베 템바데 다 주변염는 이거는 징거와 송교 아래 드니 주산에 다
And so in order to uphold the teachings of Scripture, then we need to engage in teaching and listening. And for practice, we need to engage in meditational practice.
다 친이 자기 슝세는 친이 자기 다 된주 대양 지당게 덤버서서 좀 된대기 되네. 되네 가수레 숨베기 야외가 별 관심이 별 관심이 깨도 교르샤와 코나라다 보디 야자 롱고요 아래 되네 대기다 진주 진주기 캐바 나 야가르기 삐르다 남지 제샤베 된주 벽에도 교르샤올래 보디 니게 하스 도시온디 아래 다드네 벽이 캐바준 제샤마네 다 보디 운에트네 치타를 개와듯이 예브레 언더 드린 주산다 대야 천년차다 흉망고 든지 망고 싶지 야외 까다 지 근줄다 띵줄다 아니 벽이 개변제 대주 망고 지야베 이네야 다디나 닝보더부터 가르사나 아니 바지 아주 남기 벽에 벽 가정의 종기 셔럽 제가 자사 시험 남이야 되는 조어디 흉가병 아니야 천년차 간다 야외 까다 지주 개변 땡셔라 아니 벽이 개발된 제베게 대저 탐색 인닝보디 아니 흉가병 아디 나는 먼저 버지면 인주산에 아니 흉가병 아래야 천년차 조어들이야 천년 아주 두스는 게 아래
Now the texts or the treatises that we teach and listen, these include the words of the Buddha. And those that were translated in Tibetan number around 100 volumes. Then there are also the treatises that were composed by the great masters and scholars who followed the Buddha, and there were over 200 of those that were translated into Tibetan. Likewise, there are all the treatises that were written by the learned masters of Tibet, and there are tens of thousands of those. And so when we are teaching and listening, then there are an awful lot of texts to listen to. There are an awful lot of texts to study. All of the words of the Buddha, all of the treatises by the masters in India, and all of the Tibetan treatises. But when we think about, well, what is the essence of all of these? Well, when we study them in Tibetan monasteries, like in the great monasteries, we primarily study the 5 great texts. And so there is really none of the essential teachings. There is no essential teaching of either the Buddha's words, or the treatises, or the Tibetan masters that is not found within these 5 great texts. And so we primarily study the 5 great texts.
다들이 뉴스는 천년차 그다 님 제사게 슝기 다 쪼르디 가병아 차대요. 드린 뉴스한 디규즈되는 주메기 근데가 나로래야. 우망 뒤주질이야. 지 주메기 다 우망 기지 맛이 다 좋아한다. 우망 기지 맛이 다 간다요. 다다지 참말로 가병아 천년 차로 이제 들리지기 가르쳐다지 고급 서비스는 라도 야나 들리지기 다 간다지 다 가르쳐야지 로규 서비스는 라도 류 서비스는 라도 들리지 온데요 아래 근데 인비스한테 하장기 딱 개발상고 다는 신 하장기 개셔고 나 권도 쉬는 신기 야외게 롱기 때마디 천년이 이건 진거가 천년 제사기 다 님부르 슝망보지에 나네 근데 님부르 줘봐 아니 슝가병 아이봐 근데 젤 천년 시작 고급 중보디 오늘 전에가 딱 간다지 야외기 롱기 때마 지 차상화지 지야기 딱 개발상무시다 총벌에 인두산디 윤전되네 야수 지디 개심부지 임상부지당 안디 개발상무지 인상배 토네 안디지 담에지 심슈 지지시네 안에 예 로조체과디 개심부를 삼정
And so when we teach and study, then these are the primary texts that we study. So at this point, for all of the nuns to have the opportunity to study these is a wonderful opportunity. You could also say it's like a new chapter, a new phase. It's extremely great fortune, and it's extremely important. As I have said before, with the teachings of the Buddha's scriptures, then the way we uphold them is by teaching and listening to them. And so the texts that we teach and listen, or that we teach and listen to, the essence of all of those is the 5 great texts. And if we teach and study these texts, then we will have the fortune to be able to uphold all of the scriptures of Buddhism in their entirety. And so for that reason, we need to remember how important this is and think of how fortunate we are. And it is important to have enthusiasm for doing this.
난 너나 네 엄마 장수 신유에 간다량 준바의 주머니 상기 때문에 증긴 진비기부 임을 단다래 직벌해 마더베디 디 가르에 긴구리에 직벌해 긴구리에 직벌 인주산다 때문에 짐을 쳐봐라 대단 안주기 땡게 몰람 대신 추규를 배기 뗄리 된샤베 땡게 몰람 나로 추주 뒤시마 디나로 땡베시마 긴두를 보지 토드는 점점 러송 기초쇼 송바는 신기 토트임바데 당고 토트임바데 개체야를 토트임바 팀장 되네지 라바송기 유슈 가지고 알아서 라바송사데 상기 대비 닝보래 라바숨 차상하고 알았어. 라바숨 차상하면 상기 때문에 참 마상 잡다. 너나 런유를 라바숨 차상하지면은 상기 때문에 참 마상 잡. 라바숨 차상하고 알았어. 근데지 처음이면 에너지 상기 때문에 집에 기부지 차도 알았어. 이메네야 아니 발람질이야 주마솔이야 초진이 딱 고급디 때문에 지야 고급디 중요하면 다디 고급디 초진은 아주기 가수에 아주 삼회기 때도 투쇼르 치면서난다 아주 삼회다 만주면서난다 상기 좀된 되게 라버스 용서 저거 냠서 렌샤기 다가다 고급 차장나가래 이난 아주 진주기 로마스에 다 만주면서난다 도대체네 다주 주말이야 다들 별도 주말이야 라버스 용서 저거 냠서 렌샤기다 고급디 차상하지 매버 자기인데 차상하지 매버 나한테 아주 투슈를 지래 막 땡아주 스지가 말해 나한테 아주 투슈지 안드네 주스타네 다 드림비 준셀 때네 안 다들 투슈리야 그냥 좋다 고급 사업으로지 들으시 연구회에 인두스타네 때 고급 사업 충분된 알아이네 가보시라 연구도 나는 신기 다 창매기 아주 다 현다다 강신이네야 다지 까마감사만 상미에 될이야 다 잡혀로지 상미에 될이야 잡혀도 민주 제지도 유여임래 안 그냥 좀 주의미네 다는 신기 아니 가서 지 매베 고급 상보지 톱승냐 말고 되지기 문제다 제는 그렇지 가서 다 고급디 마셔 차고다
Now, I have spoken to you about this in the past, but monks and nuns are the same in being able to uphold the Buddha's teachings. They have the same responsibility to uphold the teachings, and the responsibility is the same, and so they both need to uphold the teachings. So it is as said in the aspiration for the teachings to flourish in the 10 directions and 4 times, where it says, may all the Sangha members be rich in the 3 trainings, be harmonious, and be harmonious. So in order for us to uphold the teachings, we need to be, first of all, we all need to be harmonious. We need to get along. And second of all, we need to be rich in the 3 trainings. This means that in order so we need, and the discipline, we need to be rich in the discipline of the 3 trainings. And so it is important, this is like the essence of all the Buddha's teachings. And so if we do not have the discipline of the 3 trainings within our own beings, then we will not be able to uphold the teachings of the
first one is harmonious, second one is discipline, third one is 3 training.
Excuse me, I omitted discipline. So we first have to be harmonious. We have to have good discipline. Yes, so we have to be harmonious, have good discipline, and be rich in the 3 trainings. And only if we have these within our beings will we be able to uphold the teachings, and we will become individuals who are able to uphold the teachings. However, there has been a period when nuns have not really had the opportunity to uphold the Buddhist teachings. And this has been a loss for all of us. We have all abrogated our responsibilities. It has been a loss for all of us. We should give the ability to practice the 3 trainings in their complete form to everyone. But we have not. We have let down our responsibility and not given the opportunity to practice the 3 trainings to the nuns. This is not a case, this is not a glory of the teachings, this is a loss for the teachings. But so now you all have so now you have more opportunities now, and I'm very happy that you have these opportunities that you all have these opportunities. And I think that especially within the Karma Kaju, there are many who support you wholeheartedly in gaining these things. So now you have an opportunity that you did not have before. And now that you have this opportunity, you must not let it slip.
And Dana Singi Bena Naranda Chirchambi Vinea Dene Sangi Gama be that you think it's lived the end of the district. I lay Sambusan and Rado, laying a basan and that dish chumbre. That in Justan, Tig on the Chevy Mina. Yawan come about Jabam Yudo Zigi. Kandara Namtarlan Chevy Mina, Dending Chikashwe, Kongi Le Short, Duel Le Short, Duel Le Short in Alolia, and a Galome don't you pay the Mebe. Galome Tomba Shungen the Chumbina, and Pie Le Short the Pakajur Rest. Pie Le Short the My Le Short about Kajur Summer, Domba Burning, Don't Re Sonche, and a Due Le Short in Zenar. That was the pure Hanjang Jolia. Tindiji Pie Le Short the My Le Short, but Jurshab also Chogat Chesa the Mujudoji Le Short the Matapas Mebe Sustu. Anthony Dana Shingi Luyu Kashinan, Mijudoji, Ranigi, and then Galoma Drube Luyu. Galoma Drube Luyu. Paso Yangmala then Galoma Drube Luyu. On the dance, Yawan Kasu Javambo, Go Commandam Yang, Dagandaji, Jis Zumeg De, and Tadal G. Kasuri. Minyabal lasso the Minyam Combe Shadow, and to get Lana Mevatos Zendo. That in Zay into Sangarang Binia, Tagana Shingi, Kasure, the Zumegi, the Hamzelia, the Shidu Chini, the Shabbat Jubadan, and Anja Twesam Gosok in Yalan, Yagia Combe, Shadow, Courage, Kasure, Susu Cheto Binia, Teji. 닝 타관에 제약이다 되바다 제약가 지금 학sam다 그런도 수여비 대 예바태야 지금 나랑 게르기 interest 나 지금 다 좋아하는 상황이 봐 제가 고만남 남달은 제베비냐 드리지 제베이나 수도 튠버도 또 렌도 삼바도 지금 안 다대기 지조가 네버를 대베비냐 다디 네버도 고아지 렌도 삼바도 지금 드린 뉴스안에 다 담배게 남달았당 지조가 조단다 가와대비네야 수도 튠버도 렌도 삼바도 지금 토안에 지 수승원님이야 카르토 가제토도 가르쳐야지 남수의 바로도 써말하다 가제를 솜보로 가제 대교에는 뒤 바돌이야 수승원의 강토도로지 매주 쇼고 써말로도 정기에 어느 드링이 뉴스안에 강중원의 임비냐지 참석진 구치 매매 강에 리더 매매 강에 아래 다디 리더 매매 강에서 개요마다 리더 야고치대요 말하디 임비네 다 리더 탭자르지 리더 민다 쇼서부터 도스 요아래 인두스안에 권ገብ매 섬으로 진지기 되는 뽑아 쇼먹어체 안 다나시 당기 공도 주변의 신기 에너지 아주 감상기 자와엽스나 뭐 울어쇼베 다지 러주제 캠보레 와다 다나 신기 세계마도 참여위원회 임비냐 간다르 잡교 타지도 유예돼 버르치도스레 딩에 지 가르에 세버치지 셰토고레섬 등에 아 딩주산다 다다 고야데 가르고르산 다 소수용이네 미다 좀 소수용이네 다 심시로 맞아치지 우마이나 다 고급 매데스 당아주지 카르비다 excuse 치세요 다디 고급 톱사디 다 excuse 비시라 제사 매미 인두산 디스 소수용이네 다 매주로 체제 다다지 체년차래 다보름지게 내 당보비 퇴삼을 내는 지수받는 신기 퇴삼자 두주래 다드네 리베신도 전에 퇴삼을 내봐 다 퇴삼 미직 시부바 퇴삼제 주반냠을 짜는 마치체 카자고 장가시에 되는 초스게야만 드린 주산에 퇴삼기 가수래 야부지 차베 젤리야 아니 주반냠을 체네 아니 정규 민버체 아니 드네 다 신규 트레버체네 신규 라버스 경화로 드리지 제가 드린 주산 근데 되게 다다네 되게 뭐라 심기에서는 라도 면람서는 라도 어다 담자서는 라도 야심부지 제거하디 개좀 쉽지래 something you
So I have been blessed with the title of the Buddha, the Karmapa. Whether you call this good karma or bad karma, it is what has happened. So in this term, I think if we look at the life story of the 8th Karmapa Mikyo Dorje, he wrote a collection of the of Vinaya rituals. And in this, he writes that if you need to give the bhikkhuni vows, then you should change the bhikshu ritual to be able to give the bhikkhuni ritual. And therefore then the male bhikshu sangha on its own is able to give the bhikkhuni vow. And so this is said in his ritual. And actually, he wrote this in his collection of Vinaya rituals. And so among all of the collections of Vinaya rituals in Tibetan, it is probably only Mikyo Dorje who has said something like this.
No, he changed the...
It is probably only Mikyo Dorje who has altered the bhikshu vow ritual for the bhikshunis. Likewise, Mikyo Dorje also was known to give the bhikkhuni vow, with only the bhikshu sangha giving the vow. And so, I think therefore, when when we look at the activity of the previous Karmapa, he also worked very diligently and put a lot of effort into supporting and reviving the nuns communities in general. And so I think that it is also important for me to do everything I can in order to support the nuns' teaching and practice, to increase their listening, contemplation, and meditation. And so I will do everything that I can from the bottom of my heart. I want to put as much effort into this as I can. And I think that this is something that is appropriate for me to do from now until the end of this lifetime. I think it is something that fits well with the activity of the previous Karmapa, and it is also something that is definitely necessary within our contemporary society. And so whether we think about the examples from the past, or whether we think about whether I look at the situation in society, I think that it is important to do whatever I can to help give this opportunity. And so sometimes you also might have this feeling amongst yourselves, it's like it's difficult to find a leader or something, that you don't have a good leader, but there's no reason for you to be discouraged about this in any way. So I think that also within, it's not just me, it is also the heart sons of the Karma Kagyu lineage, as well as all of the lamas and the kempos and all of the monastic and lay communities all have great support, as you can see for yourselves. So now that you have this opportunity, it is important. You no longer have any excuses. Before, you used to have the excuse, we have no opportunity. Now you no longer have that excuse, and so it's extremely important for you to put your effort into it and to do what you can to study. Now is the time when you need to engage in the listening and the contemplation. So it's important for, but if you spend all of your time only studying without any practicing, then it won't do you any good. It will not benefit you if all you can do is speak facilely about the Buddha's Dharma. You have to put it into meditation practice and develop the ability to ripen your own being. You need to be able to liberate others' beings. That means you need to be able to bring benefit to others. And so now it is extremely important that whether you call this your resolve, or whether you call this a commitment or a promise, it is important that you have a vast commitment now.
Lumbu mawa nyungna zesa kijor rindu sanda kijma ushen chome datene tiringi zirim di toanda sindadan deshi jawas kemendo suzu dünde chegana gonda suzu dünde chegana gubaba tamja chemoji nani yomada da talone sonde an tamja chemoji to syare tamja chemodi nimarliya pachu gomba nis che yuanan zhigmen sam chengdo tadadi gyu gunshe li ya na ni son de zhenzhe lu che ji jin zhendu lu che ji che ya na di zume gunshe de zhendu che kwa ske men do an de ma ba le kali kali ji ne dan de de dan zhendu che go do me ji ta dang ma tadadi ma gyu gunshe ma kra che wo na an da ji gomba de me re che ji 좀 담자 되제 지가래 저들 주중디 두저 지금 총와다 지금 정화의 차디 아래 저들 대박 고시ገብ지 주중디 수수수 봐 고시겹 안데 가르치거나 고시겹지 그는 나 당보 단계에 가도가 말을 뜬거로 봐 가도가 말아서부터 들가리나 고시겹지 안데 당토 예민이 아버지라 용면을 썸들을 정도
It's probably better not for me not to speak too much now. As it is said, it's fools speak a lot. So I don't have much else to say, but I do want to mention something about the schedule. Most of the schedule is fairly easy, but you will notice that this evening from 7:30 till 9 we have the great group debate. Last year we did not have these, but this year we do have the group debates. So I think the best way to do this is that every evening 2 different nunneries will debate. In the Kaju Gunsha for the monks, we have competitions between the 2 monasteries. Now for the nuns, we don't have those yet. In the future, we will see how the situation develops. But in the Kaju Gunsha in the past, they used to have, every evening they used to have the group debates. And so we will do this in the same way. We will have the group debates between different nunneries in the evenings. And the topics for this will be taken from the collected topics, the elementary and the intermediate collected topics. And so we will begin with the colors white and red and move on from there and divide this into the topics. And so that is all for now.
Sonam de dam je se bani tonne ne be dranam bam yega na je balan toba sibe sole do delawara sho si she paljro mali joe she tope temba ire ne ba dan de se jebe ke bo tamban Ajra Gege Yunre Shakti Shoy Pende Jungwe Neje Temba yuri neba dan temba simbi kebo Kose kyalse tenjuro enchen kel kenye je ranso karma pa ge le che de karma pa ge do zo wang karma pa o jin do de chen le sha bin sa ge ni je ran su karma pa ge le chen de karma pa ge don zo wang karma pa o jin do de chen le sha tin sa ge ni je ran su karma pa ge le chen de karma pa ge don zo hong karma pa o jin do de chen le sha so pa de la ma sha pe ten ba da kanya yo la de ke jo wa da she ma le so sa ji jane nyo do sa ji sa la ge par sho